like it's going to be the same thing as last year where we have to win and another team out of like 3 or 4 teams has to lose. I just. I know Carson Wentz, everyone's going to blame him, despite play calling being bad, and you can't expect the guy to be perfect on every single play like the fans expect him to be. That's how the fans have been the whole freaking season. When Carson Wentz was good, he was the best quarterback ever in the history of the NFL. And then when he's bad, he's lower than friggin' Brian Hoyer. And it's just the same stuff with the defense. When they're really good, they're the best in the NFL, and then when they're playing bad, they're some of the worst bunch of defensive players that you've ever seen in your life, apparently. Same thing with the coaches, same thing with just the team as a whole. When it's bad, everyone jumps into the deep end of it being bad, and when it's good, everyone jumps into the deep end of it being good. So before I get into the rest of this, and breaking down the game, you need to pick a side. You can occasionally flip sides, but you cannot completely go overboard and overreact to every single little thing. That just amplifies the pain even more. You have to pick a side and just try and stick with it to the best of your abilities. Like me, I'm usually an optimist. So I stick with the optimistic side. Sometimes I go to the negative side. I do it in doses. I don't overreact. See people, oh, freaking bench Carson Wentz. After he has one bad play, bench Carson Wentz. It's not even a joke. It's unironic. And it's disappointing that a fan base that's been through so many comebacks and stuff like that can't comprehend one. Or can't comprehend that a quarterback's going to have a bad play or two. Pick if you're going to be an optimist for this team or if you're always going to be negative on everything. Pick if Carson Wentz is good or if Carson Wentz is bad. Usually, he plays good, but people try to make him out as bad. Just pick a side with this stuff. Because it's getting tiring. I'm seeing the same people on Twitter that when this team's going on huge winning streaks, they're behind the team fully. They support the team. They love everyone on the team. Everyone's the best player they've ever seen in their life. It's the greatest coaching staff ever, and we're going to the Super Bowl. And then when we started the season 0-3, the season was over. I should have given up apparently and stopped liking the team. Just don't even watch the games anymore. Stuff like that. It's stupid. It's idiotic. If you're going to be a fan of a team, just pick how you're going to treat it. And then don't be surprised. If you keep on flipping, don't be surprised when whatever side you flip to doesn't work out. And then don't take it out on a player who's playing good just because you can't decide in your head how you're going to deal with how you think about this team. That's the game of football. It's up and down. Sometimes you're really high, sometimes you're really low. That's why you don't take the highs too high and the lows too low. I don't know. Maybe it's just something I've gained from playing. Or it's how I am. But I've learned that if you don't take the highs too high and the lows too low, usually it turns out good. Really, the only time you take the highs super high is when it's over. You're Super Bowl champions. Then you take the high really high. If you finish the season without winning a game, then you take the low really low. That's when you do it. You do it in doses. But yeah. Just think of how this game could have changed if Darius Leonard got Derek Carr on that third down. But it's not even Darius Leonard's fault. What the heck was the secondary doing? Letting Hunter Renfrow just get through? The defense, everyone was bad when it was bad, and everyone was good when it was good. And on offense, it wasn't just Carson Wentz who was bad. The offensive line, the running backs, yes, even Jonathan Taylor was bad sometimes, and the receivers were also bad. When it was bad, everyone was bad. There wasn't one person you can blame for this loss. The coaching staff, the players, everyone is to blame. Not just one guy just because you have a narrative against him. Not just one guy because he made one bad play. Because it's never that. It's never just one bad play. I mean, think of all the scapegoats. In baseball, Bill Buckner, 1986 World Series. Lets a ground ball in Game 6 go between his legs. People remember that, but they forget the pitcher threw an errant pitch which let one of the runs score. And they wouldn't have even been in that position. Where, that ball going through Buckner's legs, it wouldn't even have mattered if that errant pitch didn't happen. Same thing with this. That Carson Wentz missing T.Y. Hilton wide open, it wouldn't have mattered if one of Jonathan Taylor's runs went to the house. It wouldn't have mattered if Mo Alley Cox caught that ball when Carson Wentz threw it to him. Or any of the receivers caught the ball. If that Zach Pascal play didn't come down to a pass interference. If that Naheem Hines screen worked that Frank Reich thought was a good idea for some reason. If we didn't pass it on 2nd and long so much. And on defense, point at the Darius Leonard play all you want. There were times where the secondary bit when it shouldn't have bit. There were times where the defensive line got through and couldn't wrap up on Derek Carr. There were times where it's just the whole defense went to crap, and at the beginning, we were letting the run game get away from us on defense. And then on special teams, no blocked punts, no blocked kicks, nothing, no forced fumbles on special teams. What about them? At this point, with how good the Colts special teams is, it's expected of them to come up clutch like that. Or do it in the middle of the game. It's expected to happen. And it didn't happen. Why are we holding certain players to a super high expectation and then other players to a really low expectation? I don't understand that. I don't understand. You have varying levels of expectations, yes. But you pick out, like, with Carson Wentz, what's the reason that he has such a high why? Why are his expectations, like, all the way up there? To be one of the best. When he was brought in here just to be a game manager, and he's greatly exceeded those expectations. And in this game, he still had a good game, but he's going to get blamed for stuff that he shouldn't have gotten blamed for. Or they're going to pick out a few plays here and there. That's idiotic. That's stupid. Because everybody's going to make mistakes. You can't find a single player on the field today who didn't make a mistake at least once. So you can't point to just one mistake and say that's what lost you the game. You can't. Maybe in the moment you do it. I'll do it in the moment sometimes. This call lost us the game. This stupid play lost us the game. And you do that in the moment. But then sometimes, most of the times, you'll look back on it and you realize, oh, this moment also lost it. This moment. These 2 moments, these 3 moments. All in a row, a bad streak of moments. Stop blaming certain players for certain things based off of one mistake they made. It's stupid, it's idiotic, and you gotta remember these guys are people too. You don't think they see this stuff? It's just stupid. I get criticizing players. I do it all the time. Remember me and Julian Davenport at the beginning of the year? But if Julian Davenport did have a good game, I would have, said, good job. Glad you did this. We lost the game. It sucks. Let's not be one of those toxic fan bases that sends, like, death threats or something. Let's not do that. It's not what we do here. Not what we do in Indy. It's not what Colts fans do at all. We're supposed to be more educated on this type of stuff. We're supposed to be a smart fan base. Lately, we haven't been. Go out there next week. Try and make the playoffs. And if we don't, we didn't deserve it. All of it was for nothing. And we get back to it next year. Same thing. That's all it is. We don't make it. We make improvements in the offseason to make it. We draft better corners. We draft some more edge rushers that are good. Get more wide receivers that are good. Hopefully our offensive line stays healthy. Maybe sign some or draft some better backup offensive linemen. Depth at that position has always been a problem. Just make the right moves. Let's get them next week. It's just what being a fan's all about. You put your heart into it. Most of the time it gets broken. Most of the time it sucks. It's terrible. You want to die. You want to cry. Everything's bad. But think back to everything else. Beating the Bills, beating the Patriots, beating the Cardinals, all those games. Even think back to when we lost. Started 0-3. The loss to the Bucks. All that stuff. Remember all of it. The losing moments is what made the winning moments that much more special, guys. Moments like this is what makes playoffs, those moments, even more special. If we make it to the playoffs, make it to the second round. Remember all those years where we got eliminated in the first round. If we go to the second round and then we get to the AFC Championship, remember when we lost to the Chiefs back in 2018. If we make it to the Super Bowl, remember back in the early 2000s when we had multiple runs where we tried to get to the Super Bowl and we didn't make it. Remember 2014, Deflategate. Remember all of that. We go to the Super Bowl. Remember 2009 and 2006. And if you're old enough, remember 1971. And remember the 50s. Remember all of it. And if we win a Super Bowl, remember 2006. I can't do that. I was only a few months old. Remember all of it. It gives you perspective. See you guys next time. As always, I'm not funny, and I'm putting my heart back in it again next week. Oh my goodness. It's probably going to get hurt again, but what else am I supposed to do? Not watch? Nah. Let's go. Let's get him next week. Let's freaking kill the Jaguars and hope one of these teams loses. Because we deserve to be in the playoffs. The freaking Redskins are in the Redskins. Football team is still in the playoff hunt. You don't think there's hope for us? I get the NFC. It's trash, but there's still hope. There's still hope. See you guys next time.
Just got unlucky on a few plays tonight, you know. One of those plays, I thought he was standing still, but he just hit the shit out of that one guy, and the guy went flying. They blew the whistle, and they called it on him.